Taylor.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes of golf and cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. That's a value of $247 for just $89. Or get the Next Round Deluxe Golf Cart for just $119. It gets you all 4 courses with cart, plus an exclusive Next Round Golf t-shirt, koozie, golf tees, and a sticker. There are no restrictions. The cart is good through September 2024. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
You want to look great while supporting your favorite show? You know the place to go is the official Next Round store at nextround.store. Yes, there are .store domains, and we have one. From shirts to hoodies to hats and all kinds of fun stuff, you can rep the Next Round anywhere you go. At the beach, Next Round hats to block out that sun. Up north in the winter, get you a comfy Next Round hoodie. Just need something to put your $20 beer in at a game? Get you a Next Round koozie and throw that thing in your pocket. You never know what stuff Jim's going to make me put in there next. Check it out. It's the Next Round store at nextround.store.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
The Next Round Golf Cart is here. Your chance to play 4 area golf courses for just $89. Get 18 holes in cart at Limestone Springs, Cross Creek, The Meadows, and the newly renovated Woodward Golf Club. A $247 value for just $89. Get your golf cart now at nextround.store.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters, it's the will to prepare to win." Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that's right for you. Stop by one of the 7 Central Alabama locations today or give them a call at 1-855-4-BRYANT to begin preparing for your financial future today. You'll find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about. Bryant Bank, Equal Housing Lender, member FDIC.
Spend my days with the woman who can smoke my stuff and drink all my wine. Made up my mind to make a new start. Going to California with an aching in my heart. Someone told me there's a girl out there with love in her eyes and flowers in her hair. Took my chances on the big jet plane. Never let them tell you that they're all the same. Oh, the sea was red and the sky was gray. Wondered how tomorrow could ever follow today. Yeah. The mountains and the canyons started trembling and shake. The children of the sun began to wait.
MyBookie.ag brings you Monday Morning Live. Jim Dunaway, Tom Luganbill of ESPN. And for the third straight week, the top 8 does not lose. And for the first time ever, we said this last week, for the first time ever, we've now got 5 unbeaten Power 5 teams this late in the season. Chaos is not walking through that door, Tom Luganbill, and I don't know what the committee's going to do at the end. We've got so much to talk about. How are you doing today, man?
I'm good. I'll tell you where chaos did walk in the door was Auburn, Alabama.
They did, man. They did. We'll start right there with that loss to New Mexico State because it's Iron Bowl week down here. It's Thanksgiving for most. It's Iron Bowl week for all of us. Auburn hosting Alabama, Jordan-Hare, where it seems to always be a tougher game. So New Mexico State wins it. Jerry Kill. I'd said all week long on this show that it was not a gimme win. I thought Auburn would win it, but it would be a tough fight. And that was all respect to Jerry Kill and what he does as a coach. I didn't expect him to lose the game, and I definitely didn't expect him to lose it 31-10. Let's start right there. What went wrong for Auburn in that one?
Mindset, focus, appreciation, and respect for the opponent. When it's quote-unquote dubbed your down week, you throw a team in there that's supposed to get the big win, get you hyped up, get you ready to go, play some young guys, get a little better, develop some other guys, assuming you're going to win the game before you play in the Iron Bowl. And all of those notions are exactly what gets you beat. And this is the challenge of dealing with 18 to 22-year-old kids. And it's the thing that stands out more to me than anything is if you follow college football, whether you're in the South and you're a true SEC fan and this and that, but if you really have paid attention over the last 40 years, you're talking about a program in New Mexico State that is arguably one of the bottom 5 doormats of college football. And Jerry Kill has them at 9-3 and playing for a conference championship. So that right there, the fact that an 8-3 team that was New Mexico State was coming into Jordan-Hare should have gotten that team's attention. And it didn't. And Jerry Kill has done that everywhere. I mean, Emporia State, Saginaw Valley State, Southern Illinois, Northern Illinois, then at Minnesota. And every time he takes a program over that's terrible, they win and they win quickly. So unfortunate set of circumstances for Auburn. I felt strongly they were going to be a 7-5 finish. It would look like a great coaching job, particularly down the stretch. It settled in on offense. What a frustrating loss if you're an Auburn fan.
Okay, now 2 takeaways from this, and I'll tell you my opinion first. But let me first say to everyone, mybookie.ag, go there, use the promo code NEXTROUND, all the great football Thanksgiving weekend. Make those plays, big college basketball games as well. Mybookie.ag, use the promo code NEXTROUND for a 50% deposit bonus, mybookie.ag. 2 things for me. 1, I don't think it has any impact at all on the Iron Bowl. I think a different Auburn team shows up, the atmosphere will be crazy, and I think the outcome would have been the outcome whether Auburn had beat that team 60-10 or lost to them 31-10. But the thing I do want to ask you that I think a lot of Auburn fans were asking themselves, they had flipped one big recruit already. They were in the process of flipping a couple of others, and recruiting is what this year has all been about for Hugh Freeze. Does a loss like that hurt you on the recruiting trail, or does it open up the doors, or is it zero impact on recruiting as well? You've done that for a long time.
I think it would be a bigger impact if that loss prevented them from being bowl eligible, and now all of a sudden you don't have those practices in the month of December that are so critical when you're having a kid on campus, official visit, families there. You want to be practicing, you want to be on the field, you want to be relevant, you want to be able to showcase your practices, how you go about doing it. That would have been a negative for me. And I'm sure they would have looked at it the same way. But I think it's negligible. I think that going into this next phase of recruiting, and I've said this before, for every staff that goes into year 2 that's currently in year 1 and you're just trying to manage everything, going forward, I think you'll see a lot of continued positive momentum. You reference flipping guys late. They're going to get into the portal, I'm sure, to try and improve there. But I do think it's critical to be relevantly playing and preparing for postseason games when you have that month of December, and Auburn still does have that.
Good morning to everyone in the chat as we get going again. If you're watching us on YouTube, you can jump into our chat right there, Facebook, Also on Twitter. We appreciate you guys being with us. All the audio platforms around the country as well. We know during this hour a lot of you are driving and cannot participate in the show. We appreciate you being along with us as well. And don't forget, when the show's done, if you missed any of it, it replays 8 to 9, but it's there for you all the time in our video platforms. You can go back, as many of you do, and rewatch it here. Let's jump into the other big stories. A reminder, though, holidays are here. Our friends at Rhoback.com. Rhoback, great gear for you. It can get you 20% off the entire site right now if you use this right here. There's no promo code. Just go to this website, Rhoback.com/TNR20. Rhoback.com/TNR20. It's going to get you 20% off the entire site because you watch Monday Morning Live right here. Rhoback.com/TNR20. We'll tell you more about that later on. Biggest story in college football to me happens off the field now. Happens with the College Football Playoff Committee. Jordan Travis gets injured. They were down 13-0 to FCS North Alabama. We're not even FCS anymore. They've moved up, but North Alabama. And they're down 13-0. Jordan Travis gets hurt. They come back and blow out North Alabama, as Florida State should. But what do you do if you're the committee with Florida State now? Let's say they beat Florida and they beat Louisville. But, I mean, they were precarious in some circles, even with Jordan Travis. Now without Jordan Travis, are they a playoff team? How do you handle this whole thing if you're in that committee room and you're the committee member with Florida State now without QB1 with a resume that is not overwhelming?
You spend the next 2 weeks thoroughly examining Tate Rodemaker and whether or not you think he could be Cardale Jones of Ohio State in 2014. And I think that's very real. The rest of the team needs to be evaluated the way they've been evaluated each and every week, and obviously the committee has liked them. You take the most important player off the field, the player that I believe has been the most improved college football player, regardless of position over the last 5 years in college football, a true difference maker, a Heisman candidate, and you remove him from the equation. Does it have an impact? Absolutely. I think it would have a greater impact in a negative fashion if this would have happened next week or in the ACC championship game, where the committee doesn't have an opportunity to sit back and watch Florida State on the road next week against Florida and see what Tate Rodemaker does. Doesn't have the opportunity to see what they do in the ACC championship game. So hope is not all lost, in my opinion, for Florida State. It's taken a major dent, but the timing of this to give the committee a chance to look and say, could this team compete at the highest level and potentially win a semifinal game without Jordan Travis? Having these next two games is going to be critical to them making that decision as accurately and fairly as they can.
This will be shocking to some on Tuesday, but even if Jordan Travis was upright and healthy, Washington was going to jump Florida State this week anyway because they just beat another top 12 opponent on the road. So Washington's going to be 4 this week, and Florida State's going to drop. It will look to some like they're reacting to Jordan Travis already, but that's not the case, right?
I don't think that's the case at all. And not only did you see Washington go into a very, very difficult environment and win that game, you also saw them handle the weather conditions. I mean, I've never seen a quarterback like Michael Penix throw a wet football. I've never seen a quarterback throw a wet football like that. It was like it wasn't even raining. I thought what they did on Saturday was the most impressive of their last 3 to 4 outings, and it was a really important outing and window nationally for them to be seen. So I thought that part of it was going to catapult Washington above Florida State regardless. And so I think it would be unfair to say, oh, well, the committee's just reacting because Jordan Travis got hurt. I think they're far more reacting to the fact that Washington looked really good on Saturday night.
And by the way, they now, at least by last week's standings, have 4 wins over teams in last week's top 25. That'll not be the case when the new top 25 comes out because Utah is going to slip out of that thing. So more on the field in a second. But back to Jordan Travis and Florida State, a team that Alabama fans are very familiar with here. And that's 2014 Ohio State, who eliminated Alabama in the first ever college football playoffs and went on to win the national championship. did that with their third string quarterback. So with that as a little bit of a precedent back in the first year of the college football playoffs, does that help Florida State with the committee down the stretch here that Ohio State did this back in 2014? Or is the fact that there's so big of a logjam at the top make this a totally different scenario?
Well, the committee likes to say that every week is its own week and every year is its own week. But human nature will tell you, hey, we've had this before. How did it work out? My crew actually, ironically, had that Ohio State-Michigan game. I was on the field when that happened. And J.T. Barrett went down and Cardell Stewart came in. And somehow they looked really, really good.
Yep.
And it was against Michigan, of all people. And obviously, the rest is history. That was a really, really dominant Ohio State football team that I think just needed sufficient effective quarterback play. They didn't need elite quarterback play, and they actually got more than they expected they probably would out of Cardell Jones. Does the committee feel like Tate Rodemaker will give Florida State more than is maybe actually needed? I don't think this Florida State team is the same team as that Ohio State team was on defense that year. That could play a role, but I think you have to go back and examine that, and you have to go back and look at some of the parameters that were in play. Are there any similarities? Are there any common denominators that would help us make a better decision this time around? They'll say that they won't do that, but I think you kind of have to do that to some degree. Listen, it's so different. Let's just say Texas losing Jonathan Brooks, right? I mean, we saw what Texas looked like for 2 weeks with Malik Murphy, and I do not think the committee, if the same thing happened to Texas, looking at Malik Murphy would have kept Texas in the fold. I don't know if that's going to be the same for Florida State, but again, they have 2 more weeks to examine this and really watch the quarterback play. If the quarterback play is effective and efficient, and they beat Florida in the swamp, and they beat a top 10 team in Louisville, and they're an undefeated football team that's a champion of a Power 5 conference, Jim, I think they're going in. I think it's a telltale sign. You've got a really good football team, you've got a resilient football team, and you got a quarterback that stepped in and is effective.
Alabama does what Alabama's supposed to do to Chattanooga, 66-10, and they got a lot of the starters out, including the quarterback after the first half. So the Iron Bowl is this week. We'll get back to the Iron Bowl in a second, but for Alabama fans, they spent Saturday watching the teams ahead of them, trying to hope for losses here or there to open up a door to get them into the college football playoff should they win out. Let's start first with the team that beat Alabama, and that's Texas. Texas up only 6-3 at the half. They go on to win it 26-16 without their star running back. C.J. Baxter comes in, though, and gets 117 yards. It's their first 10-win season since Alabama beat them in the national championship in 2009 for the Longhorns.
Yeah.
So there's that for Sark. But this Texas team continues to churn along. If they went out, are they a playoff team? And will they continue to be ahead of Alabama regardless of what Alabama does?
Well, first of all, are they a playoff team?
Yes.
In terms of their personnel? The answer is unequivocally yes. They're good enough. They've got some serious dudes on that football team. They are particularly fortunate to be very deep at running back. So yes, the Jonathan Brooks hit hurts, but we saw Saturday night that they can plug and play pretty good as well. And C.J. Baxter is a budding star. As I've said before, I think that the committee's human nature is to always default to the decision that will receive the least amount of criticism. So if that head-to-head ends up becoming the determining factor, then I think that the committee would default to it versus Alabama. Do I think Alabama deserves to be in the college football playoff if they win out? I absolutely do. I absolutely do. The question then you have to start to ask yourself is, what would that do to Georgia?
Oh, yeah.
Would Georgia be the team that, unfortunately, despite just one loss, would be the team that would be on the outside looking in? And it's hard to sit there and say, well, wow, you'd put a team that was number one, bump them outside of the top four to include 2 other teams that have a loss. Yet both of the head-to-head would work itself out in that regard. So Georgia could technically be the team that, as good as they are, that could be in a precarious position right there, assuming that we have an undefeated Big Ten champ. And I would have to say potentially either Washington would have to go undefeated to ensure the Pac-12's inclusion, or Oregon obviously beats Washington, wins the Pac-12, but still has a loss. Now, how is that viewed? Because I think that's where this entire thing gets muddy.
Yep.
Texas, conference champ. Oregon, conference champ. Alabama, conference champ. They all have a loss. Georgia has a loss. You have an undefeated Big Ten champ who stays home. And that's where a head-to-head is an easy default for the committee.
Tom Luganbill of ESPN, it is easier with 12 if it was this year. It's exciting with 4, I guess. Would you rather have 12 this year with all these teams, or are you excited that it's still 4?
I think it's fun that it's still 4, but I think the fun part about it is it's not the same 4 we always see, right? All of a sudden, Oregon and Washington are in. All of a sudden, Texas is a part of this, and it's not Oklahoma out of the Big 12. All of a sudden, Clemson's not a part of this. That to me is what kind of makes it exciting, some fresh blood and some new blood. And if we had 6, if we had 8, if we had 12, it would all work itself out, because my take on all of that is some people will say we are subtracting excellence for access. And my response to that is primarily yes, but you're still going to get the access down the line. And I think at the end of the day, if you had 16, 8 teams, 10 teams, 12 teams in all of this, barring injury, something completely substantial that could crush a team late in the season, we would probably still end up with the teams you and I have been talking about here for the last 10 minutes, because those teams are built differently and they're built for the long haul. I think that's the thing going forward, Jim, that I'm very curious about. We're going to be asking teams, a 9 seed, an 11 seed, a 10 seed, to have to play, 3 or 4 games just to have a chance at a national championship. Those teams they're not equipped roster-wise for that, and so the depth and the quality of play, if you don't get injured, the teams that are the best programs in America right now are going to have distinct advantages when this thing expands, in my opinion.
I agree with you. Maybe not for a one-round upset, but to win it all, absolutely.
Yeah.
A Goose in the chat room, you aren't moving Alabama over a team that beat them without another loss. And NH3425 says, yeah, Bama needs Texas to lose one more.
Yeah.
I would only ask you guys, can you imagine, though, the SEC not having a team in? Well, then you guys are painting me a scenario that if Alabama beats Georgia, that if Texas doesn't lose, you guys are painting me a scenario that the SEC doesn't have a team in this. And that's just mind-boggling to me that the SEC champion would be left out, and that Georgia, who would only have lost 1 game in 29 in 2 national championships, the team that beat them wouldn't be in either. It's mind-boggling. Cannot imagine it. Do not think it will happen. Kirk Herbstreit agrees with me. Herbstreit said the SEC champion will be in this thing, one way or the other.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see, and I agree. Actually, we're not actually painting the picture that one of them would be in. The question becomes who's out, and could it be Georgia? See, that's the question nobody's asking is, wait a minute. In all of this, there's kind of this assumption that if Alabama were to beat Georgia, well, they're both in. You wouldn't bump 1 past 4. Well, technically, under normal circumstances, that's probably correct. But under normal circumstances, there's probably not another 1-loss team there that's a conference champ that beat Alabama. Those aren't normal circumstances. This year, they are going to be normal circumstances. And that's why it would really, really, really help the Pac-12 if Washington can go undefeated.
Yep.
That's what the Pac-12 needs. If you are Alabama, if you're Texas, or you're Georgia, as good as Oregon's been playing, it would help you and throw a wrench in the works for the committee if there was a one-loss Pac-12 champ outside of an undefeated Pac-12 champ.
All due respect to Alabama, hard to imagine Georgia losing right now. They go on the road. They beat Tennessee. It's their third-ranked win in a row. They continue to look like they get better and better every week. Carson Beck is in control. He without Ladd McConkey, with a limited Brock Bowers, he finds Dylan Bell. Hello, Dylan Bell. Dylan, ring my bell. He's out there the other day. And Carson Beck goes 24 of 30, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. They cruise at Neyland Stadium, 38-10. 28 in a row, tying the SEC record. 2 Alabama teams with that. One more win over Georgia Tech. They set their own record. Back-to-back national champions. It's like a hand out the window, hair blowing Kirby Smart, one hand on the wheel, just cruising down the road right now for the Dogs.
Isn't it interesting how we are all discussing at some point or another over the last, let's say, 6 to 7 weeks, how great Jaden Daniels has been and how he should be the Heisman front runner at LSU despite what the losses are, yet we're not discussing Carson Beck as a Heisman front runner? He's been unbelievably productive. And I would argue unbelievably productive in the 1 year where you say, okay, we're breaking in a quarterback. Let's hope everything goes as planned around him. Let's not have an injury to Ladd McConkey. Let's not have an injury to Brock Bowers. Let's have a couple of other receivers emerge. Let's make sure that our run game is as good as it's been in recent years so that the quarterback doesn't have to do anything. Well, none of those things have happened. Every single one of them we've had an injury to Ladd McConkey. We've had an injury to Brock Bowers. At times, they haven't been a dominant run game. They've had to find other weapons. And the one consistent, steadying force of high-level play has been the quarterback, who was one of the least experienced players coming into the season. So, I mean, I don't know how you feel about it, Jim, but the last 4 to 5 weeks, I mean, Carson Beck, I would go back to the second half of the Auburn game, and you could watch Carson Beck and say, why aren't we talking about him?
Yeah, why not him? Let me ask you about one other quarterback that looks like he's going to at least be in New York and is a favorite to win it. That's Bo Nix. After I tell you that we got a great deal this holiday season for you, our next round coffee blend and all the coffees at Who Is Coffee. Just go to whoiscoffee.com /pages/the next round, or just simply go to nextround.store and click the link there. Use the promo code TNR20 to get 20% off the coffee this holiday season. TNR20 to get 20% off the coffee, whoiscoffee.com, and also nextround.store. Nextround.store, click the link for the coffee. TNR20 gets you 20% off right now. Bo Nix is on his way. He'll be a Heisman finalist now, regardless of what happens against Oregon State and in the Pac-12 championship game. He'll be a finalist. But right now, he's on his way to winning this thing. They cruise over Arizona State 49-13. They don't have a spot in the Pac-12 championship game locked up yet. And they've got 2 tough games likely left. Oregon State, who's nationally ranked, and then Washington in the rematch in the Pac-12 championship game. But that team is looking good as well, and Bo Nix is playing the mature quarterback role perfectly.
He really is, and I think that, you know, the one thing that stood out to me about this past weekend was, if you remember a week ago, that same Arizona State team that is literally decimated. I mean, they can't even dress enough offensive linemen to run traditional offensive sets. They're playing 3 or 4 quarterbacks. They're playing a tight end at quarterback. They're playing a running back at quarterback. And they beat UCLA on the road, right? And I think the maturity that Oregon showed, because all of a sudden ASU's playing at home, right? There's a little rah-rah. You're kind of surprised. It was a big, unexpected win. Oregon goes in and just shuts that down. It wasn't – I just think the maturity of that football team, the focus of that team, Coach Lanning has that team in a great headspace right now. I think they've accepted the responsibility of who they are and where they are. And the one thing that Oregon's doing each and every week, maybe more so than anything else, is they don't beat themselves. Like they don't find ways to – and that's – if you were to say, okay, give me a one-loss team versus a one-loss team, one team that knows how to put the pedal to the floor and put people away, and another team that's every bit as talented but can't do that, that's Oregon and Texas. That's the conversation between those two. Oregon finishes people, and they don't pay attention to the outside noise. I mean, in today's college football world, with as much as offensive football has exploded, Bo Nix is going to be on the verge, if the next 2 weeks play themselves out in similar fashion to what they've done throughout the season, to break the all-time completion record, which would be almost 79% in major college football, which is an absolutely unheard of number. Because that's not a team that's just, they have their screen game and this and that, but that's a team that is chock full of explosive plays. Like, he's throwing the ball downfield. He's having to make difficult throws to intermediate and deep levels. So I just think they're a mature team led by a mature player. And I think I said this with you. We discussed it last week. It might have been 2 weeks ago, Jim, that it shouldn't be a surprise to anybody that these 5th and 6th year guys at quarterback are playing the best football at quarterback in the country right now. They're older. They've seen everything. They've been through everything. They're mature. They're not kids. And we see so many kids playing the quarterback position. These guys are young men now. And you put good players around them, and all of a sudden it's having an NFL-level player playing college football.
Yeah, and he looks really good at doing it right now. And that Oregon team still hopes to make a run to the playoffs themselves. All right, there's half the show. Another half to go. That includes what they call the game. I don't know if you watched any television throughout the evening and on Sunday. It got promoted on Fox every other commercial break. The game is coming up. Around here, that's Alabama and Auburn. We'll get back into the Iron Bowl, but also Michigan and Ohio State. The aftermath of this weekend, what's ahead, all that coming up. This is Monday Morning Live, brought to you by MyBookie.ag. MyBookie.ag, 50% deposit bonus right now if you use the promo code NEXTROUND at MyBookie.ag. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere. And also by our friends at Way to Wellness, Leslie and her board-certified team. I saw Leslie on a beach this weekend. She sent a photo. She had her Next Round koozies out, enjoying the sunshine down in the Caribbean. What a great place to be. Yeah, on a beach. Right there. You can't beat that this time of year. I've always wanted to take that vacation, but I'm such a football guy. This is when I work. I can't take that vacation, but I'd love to be someplace hot when it's cold. Maybe in the future we'll do that. But Way to Wellness can get you beach ready right now. No cookie cutter plan. Everything is designed for you. The program's overseen by board certified professionals. Just go to this website, aplanforme.com, aplanforme.com. No contract, no sign-up fees, and you get a free consultation. It's Way to Wellness, your journey to healthy living. They'll take care of you. And if you're getting older, it can help control your blood pressure and cholesterol numbers as well with a healthy diet. Again, the website is aplanforme.com. More of Monday Morning Live when we come back right here on all the Next Round platforms.
The Double Down Media podcast family is live and full of content for all ages. The Mystery Fifth Hour gives the Next Round host a chance to talk about everything but sports. Pour a glass of Bama and Bourbon, our weekly college football conversation, while sipping on some of the most interesting pours in the bourbon world. And in our Not For All Ages podcast, The Last Call, LT takes off the gloves for in-depth conversations with stars like Taylor Hicks, presented by Redmont Vodka. Find these podcasts and more by searching The Next Round on Apple, Spotify, and on our website, nextroundlive.com.
The Next Round is so much more than the show you get from 9 to 1 each day. So make sure to head to our official YouTube channel at Next Round Live and subscribe to get all of our latest content. We, of course, have plenty of specialty content and shorts based all around the sports in the heart of the SEC. But we also talk pro sports, gambling, lifestyle and entertainment, and so much more. It's the Next Round YouTube channel where you never know what you're going to find next. Subscribe now to see the latest content and get notifications when we go live. That's at Next Round Live on YouTube.
Hey, Ryan Brown here from The Next Round. Do you want to help pay for my kids' college and look great while you're doing it? You need to go to the Next Round store. Everything from hats to short sleeve and long sleeve t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, zip-up hoodies, and much more. And we're adding new